2 years. 2 long years. That's how long it's been since the Skarner rework. At first, everything was going well. New visuals, a modernized kit. For the first time in years, Skarner mattered. Then came pro play.
On that one. Petrifying gaze onto Peanut. Viper Endurance doesn't fight, but a massive impale from Peanut.
Soon here gets the TP. Maybe they got what they want.
Managing to get two over the wall.
Suddenly, he was a problem Riot couldn't ignore. Nerf after nerf. Hotfix after hotfix. What should have been a successful rework became a slow descent back into solitude. But even after Riot moved on and the player base forgot him, the Skarner mains didn't. A handful of players kept pushing, and despite Skarner being at his weakest, 2 of them reached Challenger. The first is Vimsite, over 1k LP on E West, with a 65% win rate during an unranked to Challenger Skarner only run. Impressive, but not the one we're here for, because the second player did something even crazier. This Korean Skarner main has achieved Challenger on the hardest server in the world, not playing him jungle, not playing him top, but support. One of the weakest champions in the game, in the wrong role, with cursed runes, unorthodox items, and his winning against players like Keria, On, or even Faker. So let's break down how he makes this work. Our player called IsGood has been maining Skarner support since the rework. And despite all the nerfs, he has constantly adapted his playstyle to make this pick work no matter what. On paper, Skarner support looks similar to other engage supports, like Leona or Nautilus. He's a champion with a lot of crowd control, looking for engages and all-ins. But Skarner has one big advantage over those champions. Almost nobody knows how to play against Skarner support, even in Challenger. Enemies regularly underestimate his engage range. They get caught off guard and fall for his early cheeses. But why isn't Skarner support played more often then? Well, once you remove the surprise factor, his weaknesses become very obvious. Skarner's engage with his E can be strong, but it's slow and very telegraphed. Against bot lanes with high CC or disengage, it's very easy to interrupt. And if Skarner can go in, he becomes a useless scorpion who just tosses rocks around. Wait, rocks you said? What if we leaned more into that? What if instead of running Aftershock or Spellbook, we took Arcane Comet and paired it with Scorch? And suddenly, those little rocks that seemed useless, they start to hurt. They start to hurt a lot. After discovering this Comet setup, IsGood became more versatile than ever. He wasn't bound to his all-in playstyle anymore. Take the Rel matchup for example. Normally it's pretty rough for Skarner. She can easily interrupt his E with her Q and then engage on his ADC. But with Comet the matchup is flipped upside down. Skarner doesn't need to all-in anymore. He can just poke slowly and force Rel to initiate first. And once Rel uses her CC, then he's free to punish her with his E. So that was one example of how IsGood keeps finding new ways to make Skarner work. But it doesn't stop there, because so far this version of Skarner support isn't that crazy yet. Yes, he runs a weird keystone and plays more like a poke mage in the early game, but outside of that he's still basically playing a tank support. He builds normal support items and plays the role the way you'd expect. Up to now we've only talked about matchups with a lot of CC or strong disengage. So what happens against the rest? Originally, IsGood would run Unseal Spellbook or Aftershock in those matchups, but after discovering Arcane Comet, both of these keystones start to feel underwhelming. Then patch 25.9.10 hit. Spellbook got nerfed, and that gave IsGood the perfect excuse to try something completely new. Hail of Blades Skarner support. If you watched the Jack support video, you already know how disgusting this keystone can be on supports. And on Skarner? Oh yeah, it works. Keep in mind, in these clips you're seeing, he has little to no items. This is mostly just base damage paired with Hail of Blades. To understand why it's so effective, we need to look at how Skarner's Q actually works. Yes, he picks a rock, and then throws it. But the important part is what happens after he picks it up. While holding the rock, Skarner gets bonus unhit damage that scales with both AD and health. And on his third auto attack, he deals an additional 9% of the target's max health. Now combine that with Hail of Blades and Ignite, suddenly Skarner has an absurd amount of burst. IsGood was doing so much damage with this setup that he eventually realized something. Why keep building full support? Why protect the ADC when he can carry the fights himself?
Stop trying to justify this whole thing and admit you're in danger.
I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
Remember earlier when we said nobody knows how to play against Skarner support? That's even more true when the Skarner support is one-shotting people. Imagine you're this Kha'Zix. You see an overextend bot lane and think you found a free kill on Smolder. And then you just get deleted by a level 6 Skarner support. And to push this playstyle even further, IsGood came up with a build that fully maximizes Skarner's burst damage. Because Skarner's Q scales with both AD and health, he builds to stack as much as both as possible. And once he completes Titanic Hydra, things get even more ridiculous. He gains massive AoE damage, letting him nuke multiple enemies at the same time. With the new season having started, it's the perfect time to pick up Skarner support. You get access to a few new items that fit him perfectly. The first one is Banal Pipe. Everybody already knows how strong this item is. It gives movement speed and attack speed to nearby allies whenever you slow or immobilize enemies. And on Skarner, it's insane. He can proc it effortlessly. He presses W, slows enemies, gives them movement speed, and uses it to run them down. Another great new toy is Protoplasm Harness. This item is broken on tanky champions, and Skarner uses it extremely well. It gives him a huge spike in durability and makes him very hard to kill in fights. Zeke's Convergence is another new addition. It's not a new item, but it gained a new passive this season, Cryo Combustion, giving 15 ultimate haste. And on a champion with an ultimate as game changing as Skarner's, that matters a lot. This is the core build IsGood used during the first days of Season 16, having already climbed up to Masters. That said, he keeps reminding us of how strong the AD build still is. From time to time he goes back to it and dominates games with it. For runes, it's as explained previously. Comet against high CC or disengage, and Hail of Blades against low CC, or if you go the full damage build. Skarner looks simple, but there are a lot of small details you need to understand to play him well. Let's start with his Q and how to poke properly. The Q hitbox itself is actually pretty short, and hitting enemies directly can be difficult. What makes it strong is the explosion radius of the rock, and most bot laners don't expect it. So instead of aiming at the enemy, the best way to poke is to hit minions near them and let the blast do the work. Next tip, never engage with E without preparing your Q first. If you go in with your E before picking up a rock, you lose a big part of your damage. You miss out on your Q passive, and you also waste time during the all-in. On top of that, your Q cooldown starts as soon as you pick up the rock, not when you throw it. So if you delay it, you're slowing yourself down even more. Now you might be thinking, doesn't picking up a rock before engaging makes everything predictable? And yes, it does. That's why IsGood always plays around bushes. He picks up his rock out of vision so the enemy has no time to react. Which brings us to Skarner's support's most important job: vision control. If Skarner is on vision, he's slow and predictable, but when he's in Fog of War, he's extremely threatening. That's why you should always start with Sweeper and fight for bush control in lane. When you're in Fog of War, enemies can't react to your E in time, and the pressure alone can force mistakes. And you can apply that pressure as early as level 1, especially with Hell Blades. Take this clip for example. Renata doesn't respect the fact that Skarner could be hiding in the bush. He engages, and she's instantly forced out of lane. One last thing to know about Skarner's E, it's not just an engage tool. It can also be used defensively to disengage and cancel abilities, like an Alistar combo. And if an enemy is playing too close to your tower, use E to drag them under it for an easy punish. At the end of the day, this video isn't only about Skarner support. It's about what happens when the champion gets left behind by Riot and someone still decides to push him as far as possible. IsGood didn't make Skarner work because the champion is secretly broken. He made him work because he understood his limits, adapted his playstyle, and kept experimenting when most people wouldn't. Whether it's Arcane Comet or Hell of Blades, support or full AD builds, the point is the same. Skarner doesn't win by playing conventionally. He wins by playing unexpectedly. And that's why this works so well. Nobody knows how to play against Skarner support, and even when someone does, IsGood is already 2 steps ahead. So if you're tired of picking the same champion every game, or you feel like your favorite champion isn't viable anymore, this is a reminder that creativity still matters in League. The meta isn't always about what's strongest on paper. Sometimes it's about who's willing to explore deeper than anyone else. And if nothing else, at least you know why that random Skarner support just deleted you in solo queue. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more Skarner support gameplay, make sure to check out IsGood's YouTube channel, link in the description. And if you end up trying Skarner support yourself, let me know in the comments how your games went. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned if you want to see more off-meta stories. See you in the next one.